You are not in the process of becoming a new self. The battle is over. From the perspective of quantum physics, the old version of you has already collapsed. This isn't a motivational metaphor. It's the mechanical result of the observer effect. Your sustained attention on a new possibility, your focused desire for a different reality, has forced the universe to choose. The choice has been made. In the next 50 minutes, I will prove to you that this collapse has occurred and give you the tools to stop identifying with the debris of the past and start living from the masterpiece that is already you. We're going to bypass feel-good philosophy and go directly to the source code of reality. We will be looking at the undeniable evidence from the famous double-slit experiment, but not as a historical curiosity. We will apply its radical implications directly to the nature of your identity, your consciousness, and the reality you perceive every single moment. Now let's talk about how you feel right now. That profound exhaustion, that sense of being disoriented as if you're floating in a void between who you were and who you are trying so desperately to become. That frustrating lag between the inner work you're doing and the outer world you're seeing. Have you ever felt like you've been working so hard to change, only to feel more lost than when you started? I need you to hear this with every cell in your body. You are not failing. You are not stuck. What you are experiencing are the precise, predictable symptoms of a successful quantum identity collapse. So this brings up the critical question: how does a reality shift feel in its initial stages? It feels exactly like this. It feels like confusion. It feels like loss. It feels like you've taken a wrong turn somewhere. But what you perceive as a wrong turn is actually the sensation of standing on entirely new ground for the first time. If the idea that the hardest part is already over, that this confusion is not a sign of failure but of victory, brings you a sense of immediate relief, hit the like button now. It signals to the universe and the algorithm that this validation is needed. To understand this, we need a new metaphor: the quantum statue. Imagine your old self was a solid block of marble. It was a state of pure potential, what physicists call superposition. Infinite possibilities existed within it: the potential for wealth, for health, for love, for despair, all coexisting as probability waves. Your desire, your focused intention, your unwavering observation of a new possibility, that was the sculptor's final decisive strike. In a single, instantaneous event, the wave function collapsed, the new form was revealed, the masterpiece is already complete. The problem is you're still standing there, staring at the dust and debris on the floor, the old habits, the lingering memories, the echoes of past conversations, and you've mistaken the mess for the process. You believe the work isn't finished because the dust hasn't settled yet. You are identifying with the aftershock, not the event itself. This is the core perceptual error we are going to correct today. By the end of this transmission, you will move from the exhausting identity of a spiritual striver, constantly hammering away at dust, to the empowered embodiment of your post-collapse self. You will learn to feel the new reality that is already here. Because you didn't come here to build something new. You came here to be told that it's already done. So let's move past the initial shock of that statement and into the mechanics of why it is not a metaphor, but a literal description of reality. To do that, we have to look at the foundational experiment of quantum mechanics, the one that revealed the impossibly strange and powerful relationship between consciousness and the physical world. The double-slit experiment. In its simplest form, scientists shoot tiny particles, like electrons, at a screen with two slits in it. When they don't watch which slit the electron goes through, the electron behaves like a wave. It seemingly goes through both slits at once and creates an interference pattern on the other side, like ripples in a pond. It exists in a state of pure potentiality, a cloud of possibilities. But the moment a detector is placed to observe which slit the electron passes through, everything changes. The act of observation forces the wave of potential to collapse into a single, definite particle. It chooses a path. It becomes a thing in a place, not a probability everywhere. The wave collapses because it was looked at. This is the observer effect. And it is the single most important principle you must understand to grasp what has happened to you. Because this principle doesn't just apply to subatomic particles in a lab. It applies to the very fabric of your reality, because your reality is built from these particles. And most critically, it applies to your identity. Your identity is not a fixed, solid thing. It is not a concrete monument you were born with. From the perspective of physics, your identity, just like that unobserved electron, is a wave function, a superposition of infinite potential selves. The successful self, the struggling self, the healthy self, the anxious self, the wealthy self, the impoverished self. They all exist as shimmering, overlapping waves of probability in the quantum field. None of them are more real than the others. They are all just waiting for an observer. You are that observer. Your focused attention, your sustained belief, your dominant feeling state. That is the quantum measurement device. Whatever potential self you consistently observe, you force into reality. You collapse the wave of infinite possibilities into the single particle of your experience. This is the quantum self explained simple. Your identity is not what you are, but what you are currently observing yourself to be. For years, you have been engaged in the sacred work of shifting your observation. Through meditation, visualization, affirmations, and sheer force of will, you have been deliberately withdrawing your attention from the self you were and placing it upon the self you wished to be. You have been looking at the new potential. And at some point, you reached a tipping point. The energy, the focus, the coherence of your observation of the new self became more powerful than the habitual observation of the old one. In that moment, the universe had no choice but to obey the fundamental law. The wave function collapsed. We must give this event a name, because naming it gives us power over it. We will call it the quantum identity collapse. This was not a slow transition. It was not a gradual fading out of the old and a fading in of the new. A quantum collapse is not a gentle process. It is instantaneous, decisive, irreversible. It is the sculptor's final, perfect strike with the chisel. In one moment, there was a block of marble pregnant with infinite forms. In the next, the form was revealed and the excess stone shattered and fell away. The choice has been made. The new you is now the particle of your reality. And this is precisely why the old methods of self-help and personal development suddenly stop working for you, and in fact, become a source of profound exhaustion. Traditional methods are built on a Newtonian model of reality. They treat your identity as a solid object that needs to be painstakingly fixed, chiseled, or molded over time. They tell you to keep working on yourself. But what if there is no old self left to work on? This is the critical error in perception. You are trying to sculpt the dust. You are standing in front of a finished masterpiece, but your eyes are glued to the debris on the floor. The old habits, the lingering memories, the energetic echoes of the collapsed self, and you are trying to arrange that dust back into the shape of the old block of marble so you can start chiseling again. It's an impossible, soul-crushing task. You are working on a memory. You are fighting a phantom. The effort is monumental because the thing you are trying to change no longer possesses a core reality. It is only being animated by your stubborn observation of it. Your belief that the work is not yet done is the only thing keeping the illusion of the old self alive. Take a moment and identify one area where you are still acting like a sculptor trying to force the marble instead of simply being the finished statue. What does that feel like? Feel the sheer exhaustion of it, the frustration. That feeling is your guide. It is a signal that you are applying effort in a dimension that has already ceased to exist. This leads us to the new paradigm. The shift you have been working towards was never a shift from old self to new self. That is a linear human way of thinking. The true shift, the quantum shift, was from observing the old self to observing the new self. That's it. That was the entirety of the work. The moment your observation locked in, the collapse was total. It is the point of no return. You cannot unstrike the bell, you cannot unshatter the stone, and you cannot uncollapse a wave function back into its state of pure potential. The reality you now inhabit is fundamentally structured around the new self. The battle is over. You just haven't realized you won. For your entire life, you have operated under a single fundamental misunderstanding. You have believed that you are the sculptor. You believed your job was to tirelessly chip away at the block of marble that was your old self. You thought the sweat, the effort, the exhaustion of swinging the hammer and chisel was the process of creation itself. And so when you finally paused, surrounded by dust and debris, feeling empty and disoriented, you concluded that you had failed, that the work was incomplete, that the statue was not yet revealed. Here is the revelation that will change the physics of your world. You are not the sculptor, you are the statue, and that feeling of emptiness, of disorientation, of being lost in a void, that is not a problem to be solved. It is the entire point. That feeling is the proof of the collapse. It is the direct physical sensation of the empty space created by the absence of the old self. You are feeling the air where tons of marble used to be. You are feeling the freedom from a density you no longer possess. We have been taught to fear the void, to fill the silence, to cure the disorientation. But what if that emptiness is the most sacred space you will ever inhabit? What if it is the irrefutable evidence that the quantum identity collapse was a success? This changes everything. It means your struggle isn't part of the transformation. It's the resistance to acknowledging that the transformation is complete. The fight you feel is not you pushing forward into a new reality. It is the echo of your old self trying to pull you back into a reality that no longer has a physical foundation. It's the phantom limb of a collapsed identity. This means your work is not to build the new self. That is already done. Your only work now is to de-energize the memory of the old one, to stop giving your precious, reality-creating observation to the dust on the floor. The new self does not need your effort to exist. It only needs your recognition. It needs you to stop pretending you are still the block of marble. It needs you to finally inhabit the form you have already become. You are already standing in your new reality. You have been for some time. You just keep trying to interpret the new landscape using the old dissolved map. This calls for a radical shift in your approach. The only work left is perception management. A disciplined, moment-by-moment choice to withdraw your focus from the debris of the past. The old habits, the familiar anxieties, the recurring thoughts, the triggers that feel so real, these are nothing more than the dust kicked up by the final decisive strike of the chisel. They are loud, they obscure the view, but they are not the substance of who you are. They are the aftershock, not the earthquake. Your task is to stop analyzing the dust, and to start feeling the new contours of your own form. To feel the elegant lines, the solid presence, the finished perfection of the masterpiece that is now you. You do not need to add anything. You do not need to perfect anything. You only need to acquaint yourself with the being you already are. This redefines your identity at the most fundamental level. You are not a person in transition. That is a painful, powerless state of being that implies you are not yet whole. It keeps you perpetually striving, forever locked in the process of becoming. You must abandon that label forever. You are a post-collapse self. You are a new being, complete and whole, simply experiencing the echo of a former reality as it fades from your energetic field. This is the profound shift from a life of becoming to a life of being, from chasing a future self to operating as the present self. The race is over. You have already crossed the finish line. You are simply the only one who hasn't realized it yet. So this is how to integrate an identity collapse. You don't integrate it into your old life. You begin to operate from the new identity and allow the old life, the old connections, the old reality, to dematerialize from a lack of observation. You are not merging two worlds. You are allowing a phantom world to finally dissolve. What if the feeling of being lost, or in between, isn't a sign you're failing, but the very first sensation of standing in a new reality whose map you haven't unfolded yet? This collapse isn't a future event to hope for. It is a past event you are recovering from. And like any profound event, it has left undeniable evidence in its wake. Footprints in the landscape of your life. The problem is, you've been misinterpreting the signs. You've been labeling the proof of your victory as evidence of your failure. Today, that misinterpretation ends. I am about to share 3 counterintuitive signs that you have already undergone a quantum identity collapse. These are not problems to be solved. They are trophies to be acknowledged. Listen closely because your entire reality is about to reorient around this new understanding. You are about to learn how to see the silhouette of the new statue, even when the light is dim and your eyes are still accustomed to the old, solid block of marble. The first sign is energetic rejection. This manifests as a sudden and inexplicable disinterest, or even a visceral repulsion, to things you once loved. The job that once defined you now feels like an ill-fitting costume. The friends you shared years of history with now feel like strangers speaking a different language. The music, the books, the hobbies that once brought you comfort now feel hollow, empty, like artifacts from another person's life. You label this depression. You call it apathy. You fear you are losing yourself. You are not. This is frequency incompatibility. It is the most definitive proof that your fundamental vibrational signature has changed. Your new form, the form of the quantum statue that is now you, no longer resonates with the energies of your past. It's not a judgment, it's physics. A tuning fork vibrating at 440 Hz cannot connect with one vibrating at 256. They exist in different energetic realities. Your being is rejecting what is no longer a vibrational match. This repulsion is not a problem, it is a compass. It is your new self protecting its coherence, refusing to engage with frequencies that would destabilize its new structure. Every time you feel that strange disinterest, I want you to reframe it instantly. This is not loss. This is the sound of your new reality securing its borders. It is the first, undeniable quantum fingerprint of your collapse. The second sign, and perhaps the most disorienting, is the void. This is the feeling of being utterly untethered, a sense of profound emptiness where your old personality used to be. It can feel like amnesia. You look back at photos of yourself from a year ago and feel no connection to the person in the picture. You try to remember why you made certain choices, why you loved certain people, and the emotional charge is just gone. It feels like you are floating in a blank space, a waiting room with no clock and no doors. You label this a crisis of identity. You call it being lost. You fear you have erased yourself and there is nothing left. But you are not lost. You are cleared. This void is not an absence of self. It is the absence of the old self. It is the direct experience of the space created by the collapse. Imagine deleting a massive software program from a computer. For a moment, before the new program is installed and booted up, there is simply empty hard drive space. That is what you are feeling. The old operating system, with all its programming, its limitations, its trauma-based responses, and its identity loops, has been wiped clean. This emptiness you fear is the most sacred state you can be in. It is the proof that the old blueprint has been permanently erased. It is the fertile ground upon which the new reality can be perceived. Do not rush to fill this void with old distractions. Stand in it. Honor it. It is the sound of pure potential. It is the second unmistakable quantum fingerprint of your collapse. And this brings us to the third sign, the most confusing, the most subtle, the echo test. Just when you begin to feel the freedom of the void, just as you start to acclimatize to your new frequency, the old world seems to rise up with a vengeance. An old trigger you thought you'd mastered appears with shocking intensity. A person from your past shows up out of the blue. A financial crisis that mirrors an old fear pattern materializes overnight. It feels like a cosmic joke. It feels like you are being pulled right back to the beginning, that all your work was for nothing. You label this a setback. You call it a test from the universe. You fear you are stuck in a loop forever. Listen to me. These are not tests to see if you will fail. They are final opportunities to demonstrate who you have already become. They are not the old reality reasserting itself. They are echoes from a reality that has already collapsed. An echo has no source. It has no power of its own. It only has the energy you give it through your observation and reaction. The universe is not testing you. It is asking for clarification. It is presenting an old signal and asking, who is responding to this call? Is it the old self, which would react with fear, anger, and contraction? Or is it the post-collapse self, which can observe this echo with neutrality and respond from a place of peace, power, and wisdom? Every time one of these echoes appears, you are being invited to anchor your new identity more deeply into the physical world. By refusing to energize the echo with your old reaction, you dissolve it permanently. This isn't a sign you're stuck. It is proof that you are in the final cleanup phase. It is the universe asking you to embody your new mastery. This is the third and most powerful quantum fingerprint of the collapse. Energetic rejection. The void. The echo test. These are not your problems. These are your proofs. They are the signature of a successful quantum identity collapse. This is the new framework. From this moment forward, you will see these signs not as obstacles, but as confirmations. You will recognize the silhouette of the new masterpiece you are. Which of these signs have you been misjudging in your life? Which one, right now, lands with the force of truth and validates months or even years of your journey? In the comments below, share which of these 3 signs you now recognize in your own life. Let's create a powerful collective testimony of this quantum shift. Your single comment might be the piece of evidence that validates someone else's entire experience. Let's witness this together. I want to witness your collapse. You have the intellectual understanding. You have the external evidence. Now, we move beyond both. We go to the only place where the truth of this new self resides. Your direct experience. The mind can be convinced. The world can offer signs. But the body knows. It is the final arbiter of truth. So I invite you now to stop analyzing, to stop searching for proof outside of yourself, and to simply be. Find a comfortable position. Close your eyes if that feels right for you. And take a slow, deep breath in. And as you exhale, release the need to understand what's happening. Release the identity of the seeker, the striver, the one who is trying to get somewhere. You have already arrived. Let's begin. Bring your awareness inward, deep into the core of your being. I want you to scan your internal landscape, not for what is there, but for what is not. Sense the space. Feel for the place where the old identity used to live, the dense static of the old self, the heavy, familiar weight of its stories, its limitations, its anxieties. You've carried it for so long, you know its signature perfectly. But as you feel for it now, notice what you find instead. You may find a quietness, an emptiness, a void. For years, you have been taught to fear this feeling, to label it as loss or disorientation or depression. You have been taught to fill it as quickly as possible. But today, right now, we will do the opposite. We will celebrate it. This emptiness is not a problem, it is your trophy. It is the proof of the collapse. It is the sacred space created by the successful demolition of a reality that no longer served you. Feel the truth of that. This isn't a loss. It's a clearing. A vast, silent field where a tangled forest once stood. Breathe into that space. Acknowledge it. Honor it. Silently say to it, "Thank you. Thank you for showing me the work is done." Now, from within this beautiful, clear space, I want you to listen. Not with your ears, but with your entire being. Listen for the new frequency that is already filling this space. Do not try to invent it. Do not force it. Do not imagine what you think it should feel like. Your only job is to notice. It is impossibly subtle at first. It is not loud like the old self was. It doesn't scream for attention with fear or doubt. It hums. It is a quiet, steady, unwavering current. It might feel like a deep sense of peace that has no reason to be there. It might feel like a profound stillness in the center of your chest. It might feel like a quiet, humming power, dormant but fully present. Or it might simply feel new, unfamiliar. A quality of consciousness you can't yet name, but you can undeniably sense. Whatever it is for you, allow your awareness to gently land upon it, like a butterfly landing on a flower. Just notice it. This is it. This is the resonance of the post-collapse self. This is the frequency signature of the statue, now that the marble has fallen away. It has been here all along, waiting patiently beneath the noise of the collapse, waiting for you to stop looking at the dust and finally feel the new form you inhabit. Now, let's magnify this experience. With your awareness resting gently on this new frequency, begin to breathe into it. Imagine your every inhalation is drawing more of this feeling, this resonance into your body, and with every exhalation you are allowing it to expand. Feel it expanding from the core of your being, outward, filling the space the old self once occupied. Let it saturate your cells. Let it move up your spine, down your arms into your legs. Feel the very shape of this new consciousness. What are its contours? Is it calm? Is it solid? Is it radiant? Is it free? This is no longer a subtle feeling you are observing. It is becoming the dominant sensation of your body. It is becoming what you are. You are not building this. You are not creating this. You are simply allowing yourself to become fully conscious of what has already occurred. You are stepping into the form that was already revealed. You are inhabiting the masterpiece. Feel the final click of acceptance, the deep somatic knowing that this is who you are now. And from this place of profound presence, of total embodiment, make a silent, simple declaration. I am this now. Feel the resonance of those words land in your body, not as an affirmation for the future, but as a statement of present tense fact. I am this now. Take one more deep breath into this reality, and when you are ready, gently, slowly, bring your awareness back to the room. Welcome back. Before you move, before you think, before you do anything, just sit in this new resonance. As you inhabit this space, what is the one-word feeling that defines this post-collapse self? Let that word be your anchor from this moment forward. Welcome back. You are now operating as the post-collapse self. The question is no longer, how do I become? The question is, what do I do now that I am? You are a finished masterpiece, a completed work of quantum art. But even a masterpiece needs an operational manual to navigate the world it now finds itself in. The habits and responses of the old self are deeply grooved into your neurology, like pathways worn into an ancient landscape. They will try to run on autopilot. Your new work is not to build, but to consciously pilot your new form using a new set of commands. Here is how to integrate an identity collapse on a daily basis. Your first tool is called the post-collapse response. It is your primary override command for old programming. When an old trigger appears, a critical comment, a financial worry, a familiar feeling of inadequacy, the old self had a predictable automatic reaction. You do not. Before you react, you will pause. You will take one breath, and you will ask your consciousness this precise question. How would the self that is already confident, already abundant, already whole respond to this? Then you listen. The answer will not come from your logical mind, which is a library of the past. It will arise as a feeling, an impulse, a sudden knowing from the new frequency you now inhabit. It might be to say nothing. It might be to laugh. It might be to take a completely unexpected action. This is not affirmation. This is activation. You are bypassing the old circuitry and acting directly from the new blueprint. And each time you do this, you deepen the new neural pathways and weaken the old ones. The second tool is evidence harvesting. Your brain contains a mechanism called the reticular activating system, a filter that shows you what you've told it is important. For years, you have unconsciously programmed it to find evidence of your limitations. Now, we consciously give it a new mission. For 5 minutes every single day, your only job is to actively look for and mentally or physically note down micro-proofs that you are the new self. Did you respond with patience instead of anger? Write it down. Did a small, unexpected opportunity appear? That is evidence. Did you look in the mirror and feel a flicker of peace instead of judgment? That is your primary data point. You are not trying to create evidence. You are training your perception to recognize the reality that already exists. You are teaching your brain to seek confirmation of the new self, accelerating its complete stabilization in your physical experience. You are tuning your receiver to the new broadcast. Your third tool is perhaps the most critical. It is the echo dissolver. The old self is gone, but its thoughts, its worries, its stories, they will continue to reverberate for a time like the sound of a bell after it has been struck. They are energetic echoes from a collapsed reality. The critical mistake is to fight them, to argue with them, or to believe they are still you. This gives them observational energy and keeps them alive. From now on, you will do the opposite. When an old negative thought pattern emerges, you will not engage. You will see it, you will acknowledge it for what it is, an echo. You can even label it in your mind. Ah, an echo of the old scarcity story. And then you calmly, neutrally, withdraw your attention and place it on something else. On your breath, on an object in the room, on the feeling of your post-collapse self. You starve it of the one thing it needs to persist, your observation. By refusing to observe it, you cease to collapse its wave function into your reality. It is a ghost that can only haunt you if you believe it is real. Stop looking at it, and it dissolves back into the quantum foam from whence it came. What is the single most persistent story from your old self that you will consciously stop observing, stop giving energy to, the moment this video ends? These three tools, the post-collapse response, evidence harvesting, and the echo dissolver, are your new framework for being. This isn't work. This isn't a struggle. It is the joyful exploration of your new capabilities. It's the moment the sculpted statue finally begins to understand the freedom of its new form, learning how it can now move in the world. You now have the awareness. You have the evidence. You have the tools. You understand the quantum identity collapse, not as a theory, but as a lived experience. You have moved past the illusion of the journey because you have finally arrived at the destination you were already inhabiting. You are no longer becoming. You are. But accepting this one masterpiece, this new statue of self, it doesn't just end the old struggle. It begins a new creation. It opens a door into a reality you couldn't perceive before. You are standing in a quantum gallery of infinite potential masterpieces, and by fully embodying this one, you have just been given the key to all the others. Because this new self isn't isolated. It isn't a static piece of art to be admired from afar. It exists in a quantum field, instantly and inextricably connected to everything else that resonates with its specific frequency. Its very existence is a broadcast. When the certainty of your post-collapse self meets the universal law of quantum entanglement, the synchronicities, manifestations, and connections that once felt miraculous become your new, predictable physics. The impossible becomes your baseline. That's why our next deep dive is called Quantum Entanglement Explained, why your new self is already connected to your desires. We will explore the precise mechanics of how your inner shift instantly reorganizes the outer world, pulling towards you the people, opportunities, and realities that are its perfect reflection. To continue this journey into mastery, subscribe and activate all notifications. Our next video, Quantum Entanglement Explained, why your new self is already connected to your desires, is the critical next layer, and you have to be here for it. Following that, we will deconstruct another great mystery in Synchronicity is Simpler Than You Think. It's your new reality confirming itself. Now that you know you are the new self, what if you could see precisely how that self is already tethered to everything you desire? Your transformation was never just about you. It was never just about feeling better. It was about creating a new broadcast point from which to call in an entirely new universe. You did it. The collapse was successful. Now let's learn to use it.